We are waiting on Councillor meeting. We will start with the Lord's Prayer. If everyone would like to go ahead, and we will say, "And our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and glory, forever and ever. Amen." I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting tonight, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and of course those elders that will come in to the future. I also want to acknowledge any First Nations people that might be joining us here tonight in the chamber. I just want to let you know that we are live streamed, so anyone that's concerned about being on camera, I'm not sure where the negative areas are, but you will all be on camera. Okay, so to start the meeting, we've got some public forum. I'm going to call them up as they came in. And so the first one being you, Pip. If you'd like to stand up on the lectern, that would be great.
It would be great.
And you've got about 5 minutes, so I'm going to get my timer to go off at 4. So that'll give you a bit of an indication as to what time you've got.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this opportunity to say a few words, mainly with regard, or essentially with regard to the relocation of the Equine Centre, which, to be quite blunt with you, I think it's the most ridiculous decision the council's ever made. And I'm very disappointed that it seems to have been made as a presidential decree rather than by council or council. The consultation supposedly has been to all user groups, but I certainly know 3 or 4 that haven't been consulted. First they knew about this when they received an email from the Shire telling them what the proposal was. And my beef at the moment is I know this speed is the essence of the job, but I can't see anything wrong going to higher places and having this decision deferred for at least 1 month to give proper consultation to all of the user groups and all the people, businesses, houses around town. I don't know if they've been informed of the decision or not. The PANH, who I represent, has not been consulted by this council. A couple of years ago, the manager came along to us and told us how they wanted to take over the showground, and he obviously saw that we weren't mad keen on the idea. There's been no consultation, no direction, no chat about this at all. We've heard various rumours around town, but there's been nothing formally written to us at all about the future of the showground. The show meeting, unfortunately, is on tomorrow night. We're going to consider a proposal because we did this was an issue, and our proposal was possibly to build the Equine Centre on Forester Road, opposite Ben Hall Shears, which would use all the facilities of the showground plus the facilities of the Ben Hall Shears, which would be good. And we consider that the flow of water there is not dangerous. None of our buildings have been damaged, in spite of what's been written. We thought possibly, I know one objection is to have it located there. It's not to be on private ground, and the show committee owns the showground. We would be willing to sell the area that the Equine Centre was built on to a suitable entity or suitable body. Possibly in return we would take over our large camping area, which we spent a lot of money to put water and the facilities in that camping area. and I believe it's in council's intention to take that from us. We would keep that and provide the Equine Centre with a provision to be made. I think there's very little else I can say. That we're very, very disappointed at the lack of consultation. We've been told that a lot of groups it has been discussed, but as far as we're concerned, it's just not true. And we have not been invited or included in any decision making whatsoever with the Equine Centre. And as far as we're concerned, although we only have one major show a year, we're involved for the jumping crew, the trotters and the pony club all in our ground. And I've spoken to a couple of these groups, and even with this new centre being proposed about at Racecourse Road, very few of them would use it. They'd like to keep their own facilities on the Forbes Showground. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Madam Mayor, councillors. Yeah, I'm actually speaking on behalf of, I think, most of the gallery here today with the user group of the proposed multi-species equestrian centre. I suppose probably reiterate a little bit on what Pip said too. You know, probably the disappointment was we had a little catch up on Friday, and the notes that you've been distributed, so you've all had a chance to read and find some facts out. That was the result of that meeting on Friday. And it was just probably a little bit disappointing with the lack of, again, correspondence and transparency, from the initial meeting we had in these council chambers back in July, where we decided to have a monthly meeting. But only real correspondence we had since then was on the 22nd of December saying that there's a new proposed site out in the industrial estate. So, there's been a lot of work behind the scenes to this for a long time. A member of the user group have been, researching and lobbying since 2018. Obtaining designs, quotes, letters of support, which was all used, in the grants process. So, I suppose where it's come to now that there's a few things that we've sort of got the crux of the matter, and there was one concern, and I'm not sure how it works tonight if there's answers or questions, but there is a concern amongst the group that the zoning of the IM1 general industrial out there, with the existing land use conflicts, it's well documented the odour problems that have been out in that part of the world, which I can testify to. The potential future land use conflict, which for pony clubs and riding for disabled and kids on horses, as far as the odour is a problem again, but obviously, heavy vehicle traffic noise, spooking of horses, and even the noise, for pigs. There's apparently, I think it's also in your documentation that horses are a flight animal and pigs are a predatory, so somehow they don't rub shoulders together too well. With the list of, I've got with the objectives, I went through your website and just found the objectives of the zone IM1 General Industrial. It says to provide a range of industrial warehouse land uses, to encourage employment opportunities, to minimise adverse effects of industry on other land uses, to support and protect industrial land for industrial uses, which I don't think ticks any of those boxes. But more importantly, the prohibited use of land. There's a great list of them going from agriculture, airport facilities, airstrips, amusements, boat sheds, right down to sex houses. But at the end of the day, there's probably 4 or 5 in there that concerns us, where the prohibited use of land is for camping grounds, caravan parks, entertainment facilities, tourist and visitor accommodation. So anything to do with any of the facility that these people and all their committees run, there's always obviously crowds involved, and a big percentage of the horse ones are also camping, which also Pip alluded to. So it's something that has to be compulsory out there, and I'm not sure how that sits. I don't profess to be any expert in any zoning. I think what it really comes down to at the end of the day is that, again, when we had that first meeting in here in July, it was a really constructive conversation. There was lots of notes taking, and everyone left with a pretty warm, fuzzy feeling that something was going to be good and successful for the town. Because at the end of the day, the reason that all you guys are elected and here, and also likewise you people that are running the show, we're all here, and we're here from all our various groups. The reason we get involved, we're all volunteers. There's no personal gain. There's no secret agendas. It's about we're all trying to grow the town. We're trying to build something good to the town, to bring people to the town, so that the businesses obviously prosper. It's been a tough bloody run of years when you talk about a 3-year drought and then run into 2 floods. and I'm sure that you agree that all retail outlets in Forbes could do with a really good shot in the arm. And that's the whole thing about the whole thing, is that we wanted to bring people to the town, show them the lovely town we've got with this fantastic new facility, and really showcase the town and that facility. And we just don't think we can do that at the proposed site out at the industrial estate. I think there's too many hurdles with the location from town, and we want people to be able to eat, drink, be merry within walking distance. They all camp with their horses. They feed their horses better than themselves. I really think that's where it's come down to, the multi-purpose part of it. If it is in the proposed site, I believe won't be a multi-purpose. I believe that there's probably at least 4 or 5 of the entities that just won't be able to have any participation in the site. And I think, and with just a little bit of talk with us too, there's great concern that, that maybe the site probably shouldn't be used to the efficiency that it should going forward, just because of its location. So there's a few things that go against it. And what we probably propose, the conclusion that we got out of our meeting was that what we would like to put forward is a bit like PIP 2. We think this all will come around really quick. We had a meeting in July, we're going to have a meeting on site the following month, and there's been no consultation until an email on the 22nd of December saying there's a new proposed site. So that was very frustrating, but what we would think, it's all come around a little bit too quick. We'd like to think that the elected councils all get to put their vote. They've all had a chance to read the facts on display, and we would like to see, as a group, the delay on the voting today of the site. I know the time is of an issue. There's talk that the funding could be pulled because of the new election coming forward, but all the other local governments have all got the same issues, and they all seem to think it won't be an issue. No one knows, but where we want to be, we want to see a delay in the voting, to see a little bit more due diligence on the sites, a bit more investigating, maybe to an alternate site. There's been a proposal from the showground, and maybe there could be a possibility of a gifting of some land on potentially the Pony Club / ranch sorting area, which would come off Forrester Street, right alongside Ben Hall Shears, and would bring around to the existing ownership of the council already. And by doing that, there'd be no extra spending on campsites with electricity. We wouldn't have to worry about that. It's all there, and it's one of the main fundings that these guys have. And obviously you can see that there's a fair bit of mess over there at the showground after the floods, and that there's need to be money spent and some hard sweat and labour, which this group is prepared to do. So in conclusion, again, we'd like to see a delay on the voting, just to do a little bit of due diligence and investigation, and hopefully that we can all get an outcome into the future that everyone's going to be happy, because it's something that it deserves. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Randall.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today. My name is Melissa West.
Oh, sorry.
That was
I'll
quick.
stop. No, I'm sorry.
That's good enough.
You don't say your name again, Melissa.
6 minutes.
Look, you've got extra time now. Sorry.
So I am the Vice President of our Forbes Sorting and Penning Committee, but I'm also an active member of Forbes Pony Club, and my daughter's also riding Forbes. But probably the most important thing I'd like to say, I'm a passionate equestrian, but I'm also very passionate about our beautiful town of Forbes. I want to make it extremely clear that everything that I sent yesterday was from a group collective, and it wasn't just anything expressed by just a few individuals. It's just that I was put in charge of, taking notes and expressing our views in the short time that we had. So I hope that helped understand, because equestrian disciplines are there's varied, and there's rules that pertain to some and not to others. So we did our research, and we just hope that helped you maybe understand a few things that impact us. Probably the two main things that I take out of today's agenda, is the livestock, the location of the multi-purpose equestrian arena adjacent to Central West Livestock Exchange is not suitable to us. And also, I'd also like to say that the flexi-fibre surface that's been quoted there for $340,000 is also not suitable. And we've done investigation, we've run national bodies of different associations, and they will not compete on it. So I think that's something that potentially we could look at and save a lot of money. So if we could just look at, I'm just referring to the agenda for today. So if we're looking at the the flexi-fibre surface on page 8. You can see there it's how it binds together. So it's like a carpet or a fibre with sand, and it comes together and it stops the horses from actually being able to dig their hooves in. And so it's really good for starting your race horses. It's suited to professional setups. So when you've got trainers that are just doing dressage, or they're just doing, they're just starting their race horses off, or their show jumpers, but it is not good for people to fall in. And all those groups that you see listed there that I'm representing, we don't want to fall off, but that is the reason why we go to a sand arena, for that sense of safety. We have our Pony Club riders. My daughter's been a member of Pony Club since she was 18 months old, and there is no way in the world I'll be taking her to a surface like that. Safety is paramount. And I think outlined in that 8-page document that I sent, there's so many safety issues that we just can't get around, and people just will not use it. So I think also the surface, all we want is a compacted base with crusher dust and sand. If you're talking about worried about a flood coming through that area, I think I worked it out. You could fill, if every grain of sand got washed away, you could fill it up 41 times with the money you save by not using that surface. So it's just money that doesn't need to be spent. River sand is made to go through a flood. Our sand at the ranch sorting arena went under the photos that you saw, so probably 1.2 metres down there. We have no edge beam, our panels aren't pegged in, nothing moved, and we've still got a pile of sand there. So it does, it's from those conditions. We also, I'd just like to say, we are very disappointed at the lack of community consultation. Many of the groups themselves have reached out and asked when the next meeting was going to occur, but we had no response. So we were sort of in a holding pattern, thinking that we were going to meet soon. And then when the emails came through the 22nd of December, when we don't even check our club emails because everything's sort of shut up and finished, we sort of missed out, and so it's even been more of a rush. So I'd really like to be consulted, because we think we are. You want a haircut, you go to a hairdresser, you want to build something, a question, these are the people that you need to ask. We've been doing it our whole lives. We spend a lot of money. We talk to other people. We want this to be the best in New South Wales, and it can be the best in New South Wales. We have had people ring us to say, we will hold national events at your arena. You're in a perfect location, halfway between Queensland and Victoria. So the potential is there. We are so excited about the potential that is there.
You've got another minute.
Okay, thanks. The grant was approved in flood zoning, so I just question why we're worried about the flood. It was approved in the same flood zone that it stands there today, and if it's because of the base not being highly erodible, not being able to go through a flood, we don't want it there anyway. So if that's the case, I would hope that would, discount that. If you look at the area adjacent to the sale yards, is subject to stormwater inundation, which you have very little notice or time to prepare or time to vacate or move your stock, and we've seen that happen recently. So that is far more likely to occur than a 1 in 100 year flood. Comes up slowly, widespread. We can plan, we can move, we can prepare. So the group's sitting before you, we're the hardworking volunteers that want to bring hundreds of people to town. We want people in the coffee shops, we want people filling up the service stations, the produce stores, the supermarkets, the retail outlets. So please ask us and listen to what we have to say. We believe a decision of this magnitude deserves more thought, and we ask that you give it the due diligence it deserves, and defer for as long as you need to and consult with these groups. Thank you. Ooh, that was quick timing.
And our next one is Isabel Pierce.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am representing our Forbes Riding for Disabled Centre this afternoon. I'll just start. So we were actually leased a small plot of land out at the sale yards that you might be aware of. As a committee, we'd actually already deemed that as unsafe to host our activities. So tailing into the current topic tonight, the proposal to move the equestrian centre, I personally wasn't consulted and our committee wasn't consulted, which was disappointing. Just to reiterate the speakers before me, I think we all want to live here and enjoy our community, and as equestrians enjoy this facility, but if it's not fit for purpose, it won't get used and it will defeat the purpose of building it. So as far as riding for disabled, we had already deemed that site wouldn't be appropriate for a number of reasons: biosecurity, traffic, safety of children, noise, and the fact that you're dealing with another animal in an environment where we've got, or as we've mentioned, pigs, cattle, sheep, people coming and going. So I think as a committee we were not supportive of actually operating from there ourselves, and then to have this facility now be proposed to be out there, we feel is contradictory to the purpose of the facility, and without having had a bit more consultation with the community, we haven't actually had an opportunity to understand the proposal and why this is actually sort of being put forward. So we were not consulted. I found out through phone calls late last week, which was quite disappointing. So I'll just keep it short and sweet. I think we've heard the majority of what we need to hear this afternoon. I just hope that our councillors will really listen to our committees who are the stakeholders in this facility. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for those presentations. They were very interesting, and it's really great to get some of the feedback that you've given us in relation to flooring and things, Melissa. Okay, councillors, we've got a report before us.
Happy to move the recommendation with a change.
Yeah, what's the change?
Just item 2 there, just to change that to be that it be constructed to suit all users. That should cover everybody else as we've been talking about today. So.
Okay, so it's been moved by Councillor Roylance. Is there a seconder? We've got a seconder.
Is it up there? Hang on. That it be constructed to suit all users. Not develop a master plan. Just to be constructed to suit all users.
Yeah, that's in the right order. Thanks, Kylie. That's great. Would someone like to second that?
Can I move the shadow motion?
No, not at this
Can't
stage. You
yet.
can't. I've got to get a seconder for this. This needs to get up or be debated first. So is there a seconder for the motion? If there's no seconder, it lapses. Now, if you want to move, you can move another motion. I declare that lapsed.
Yep. Madam Mayor, I'd like to move that we, after listening to all the, from the users of the showground or the amenities, that we go back and look at the showground again and reassess all this with the users of the showground or the users of this amenity and get this done as quickly as possible. Because I don't think we're going to meet, all this has been too rushed and we need to get it right. If we put it out the showground, out of the livestock selling centre, I don't think it's going to work. The users are not in favour of it.
I haven't got a seconder yet. I know you're debating that. So can I get you a seconder? Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Been seconded by Councillor Crowley. You've got the floor now.
Yeah, I think we've got this problem. Water goes through there, and I don't know what the cost of putting it out there. The area that we're looking at, there's got to be built up. There's got to be a lot of gravel going into that area for a parking area and road base. We don't know what the cost of getting power on, amenities, the parking area, and that there's a lot of other things associated with the costs there. And we need to think of our town, the people, there's a large crowd go to some of those events there, and the town's going to miss out on the food, the beverages, and all of that. They're not, the people coming in from the north are not going to camp there and then come into Forbes to use our facilities in our town. We need it in our town itself, not out 10k or whatever it is, 15 minutes.
Thanks. Any speakers against the motion?
Is it too late to go and open?
No, you can go and open council.
Just to ask questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Councillor Webb is moving that we
I'll
go into open council.
second that.
It's been seconded by Councillor Willis. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye.
Yeah.
Against, I declare it carried.
I'm going to stand up. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and it's nice to get some consultation of what's going ahead. Basically, I want a better understanding. So we're rushing this because we need to fulfil our grants. Is that correct?
I'll hand over to the General Manager. Steve?
I need a timeline, please.
Yes, good. Happy New Year, everybody. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, the timeline is absolutely critical, especially with the looming state government election. I do take on board what one of the speakers said earlier about the uncertainty of that, but I don't think we could risk the uncertainty. So whatever the decision is made today, of course, staff will build this facility to budget, to time, and to high quality. But it doesn't escape the fact that we are on a very tight schedule as far as getting this work done. The acquisition of the type of shed and building is proving to be very, very difficult to be able to get the fabrication companies to be able to slot us into a time slot that will actually fit the timeline.
So my question is, so we're looking at relocating this because of the flood area. Yet most of our areas that we've applied grant funding for, Ninja Park, there's so many other sporting facilities, maybe other things that are going to happen ahead of us. So we are looking at relocating them all. So are we not able to go for grant funding for anything that's in a flood area? And then if we move the equestrian area, multi-complex area out there, then any of the other sporting facilities that are left at the showground cannot apply for funding because it's in a flood area. That's what I want to know. Can that be answered?
Madam Mayor, I don't wish to debate with council about this. I can just issue some facts. And one of the reasons why it was mooted and suggested the new site be proposed was because in the investigations of the geotechnical nature of the alluvial floodplain for Spooners Oval, it was discovered that we needed to do substantial new arrangements for footings. I can hand to our engineer, Richard Jane, to talk about that, but hidden in the ground for that particular facility could be up to $500,000. And the type of structure, being a large stanchion type shed that was required on the alluvial floodplain, let alone the discussion about the footing, and we can have that discussion another time. It was decided that the Central West Industrial Park was proven with the large structures such as the shelter over the sale yard, other big sheds like Hutchison and Pierce, Forbes Engineering, and of course H&M silos. That ground is ground that has got a solid base to it and can certainly support the structure. So these are the discussions we're having is because of the magnitude of this particular building, not because of being obstructional in a floodway.
Can I ask a question? Through you, Madam Mayor, General Manager. So you're saying that the geotechnical footings that will require at the showground will be an issue like they are at the Botanical Gardens? Is that...
Spooners Oval.
That's Spooners Oval, sorry, Spooners Oval. Is that the same problem lies at the showground?
That, I'll pass to Richard that further discussion about that, but that's what the geotechnical assumption is because of the locality. The ground is absolutely sodden and to use a non-technical term, it's very much like jelly, but the merits of
Yep. You've got the floor.
Through you, Madam Mayor. I don't have a lot to add to what the General Manager was just saying, but yes, when we did the site investigation for the Spooner Oval amenities, that's the one that's proposed with the amenities downstairs and the viewing area upstairs and so on, that we discovered that we have to go really quite deep. Just off the top of my head, I think it was something like 7 or 8 metres that we've got to go down to find firm ground, which is, in terms of what we typically do, quite deep. The General Manager's correct, but it's going to be a fair bit more to do that as opposed to what we would be doing in the sale yards.
And I think I can most probably answer what you're trying to get an answer on, Councillor Webb. What we've got on the floodplain, we've got there now. But into the future, after we did experience a 52 flood, people do not, and governments with grant funding do not want us building on floodplains. And it's as simple as that. It's that simple. We still haven't got agreement on where it will be over at the PA&H, or the ownership, or anything there. We have not been able to, and I know that there's been comment that we haven't contacted the PA&H. We've had about 10 meetings cancelled in the last little while. We've been trying and trying and trying to get somewhere with them. We now have a time frame that is very, very crucial. Unless we substantially spend some of this money, come the 3rd of March, it's very common and it happens quite regularly that if there's a change of government, that grant funding will not be honoured because we would not have spent it in the time frame that we should have. So we have...
If I may,
Yep.
just to add to your timeline there, just for everybody else's knowledge, the state government goes into caretaker mode on the 1st of March, and there will be no discussions or decisions to be made of any sort of governmental nature until after the election.
Could I have a question? Madam Mayor, we already have the footings and that down to the basketball court in the ground, in high flood area, in high it's already down there, and it's bigger than the equestrian centre. The footings are already in the ground at the basketball courts, the new basketball court.
I'm not an engineer
that's been in there for 2 years.
We'll have to inquire.
So if that's in that position, there should be no reason, because that shed is every bit as big as the equestrian centre.
If you want to address that to the general manager or the engineer, with the people that have those opinions, I don't.
What I'm saying is, it's already there, we've got it there. So there's no reason for that. I can't see any reason why that is not being able to transfer to the showgrounds or somewhere on that site, because we already have the shed there. We don't have the shed built, but the footings are in the ground, every bit as big as our shed, as the shed that's proposed.
That's any.
What shed are you talking about?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't know what shed you're talking about.
The basketball courts, the new basketball courts,
Yeah.
the footings are in the ground for a shed to go over them.
Oh, like, so a huge big shade area is what you're saying? Is
No,
that what you
I'm
mean?
talking about a major structure,
Like a collar.
like the equestrian centre. The footings are already in the ground. It was done when those basketball courts were improved with 660,000.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, you can.
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Claudiana. We can build foundations on any floodplain that we want to. We're not saying that we can't do it in this location, we're just saying that they will be more substantial. So once it is built in the floodplain area to the proper standards and so on, and to the right depths and widths and so on, it will be quite safe. The flood won't affect it. The flood will affect the surface that we're going in. Now, it's in the funding deed to use this, what's it called? Flexi surface, whatever it is. Flexi fibre, sorry. So to change that to anything else, we would have to get a variation to the deed again. So, but as for the foundations, once they're in, then the flood won't impact on it. It'll stand. And same would apply with the basketball courts. If I wasn't aware that the foundations were built for a shed to go over the top, but if they were built properly, and as we know, there was a flood through there twice late last year, and it just went straight over the top. But once they're in the ground, they're fine. The flood won't affect it.
Remember, the grants for 3.5 million, is that right, correct? So is that just for the building? It's not for any other extras to it? It's just for the building itself?
Again, through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Machiski. It is to put the foundations down, to put the surface, which is the two-layer surface, including all of the drainage, and the building over the top, without any of the grandstands around the outside. We will, if we've got money left over, with all the prices going up, because steel's going through the roof, as we all know, whatever we have left, we will use for roads in and out, that sort of thing, at whichever location is chosen.
Do we have a ballpark figure of what the building's or a ballpark figure of the building, the cost of the building?
We've got to go out to tender.
No, it must have a, those roughly 1 million, 2 million.
I don't, I'm sorry, not off the top of my head.
But if you've got 3.5 million there, the cost of the footings is only a mark. If there's going to be enough money there to put heavier footings in,
Oh,
that's what I'm getting to.
for sure, yeah.
So if there's enough money there for that costing.
Which one? Michelle.
Sorry. I want to thank everyone for coming in. For you, Madam Mayor, could I just ask the engineer, how did this surface come to be chosen when it's unsuitable for so many of the groups?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I was provided with a table only last week that came from the some equestrian group, happy to provide it, and also the project manager who's looking after this project has done some research on what was appropriate for equestrian style events. Obviously it is an equestrian centre, multi-purpose one, and he approached the people that produced this, and they said, and I saw the table, so it covered off local events, regional events, state events, and ticked all the boxes for equestrian. I saw that myself, so I can put my hand on my heart and say that that was where the decision came from for this particular surface.
It's a minor thing. We can sort of, we will have to look at that because we've been given clear indication that it may not be right.
And
so if we have to make changes, we can make those
What do you
changes.
call it? A deeds change, is that?
We just change it on the
Change the
deeds.
funding deed,
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
We won't be building the floor up straight up front. We wanted to spend some money so we keep our grant.
if it's a minor change, we won't have to go back to the funding deed. If it's something that's similar, then we probably be right. But just to add to what I was saying, the wording there, it says this service will cater for dressage, jumping, eventing, drive, and that came straight out of that table. That's the exact words that was got in there. So.
Well, to me, we should be suiting our groups that we use.
Yeah.
I just have another question about, probably to Matt. With the, if the PA&H give the land to the group to have the equestrian centre, how does that work with DAs and things like that when the land's with original ownership?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Herbert, it's a timing issue, I would say. So at the moment, the grant fund it nominates a specific lot in DP. That's on Crown land currently. It's the Racecourse Trust. So to change that, similar to what we're doing here, you have to write to the funding authority and say we want to change it from site A to site B. For that to occur now, if that was going to go on the PA&H Association, timing would be on the essence, I would suggest. You'd have to get that into some sort of community or public land ownership before you could make that change. I doubt, I don't really know the answer, but I doubt the government's going to say, let's give a grant fund to a private ownership.
That's right.
That answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. Any further comments or questions?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Matthew Till, just with the M1 zoning language, just for my peace of mind, just with the camping, so are we assured that the zoning and the location of the proposed site is actually a fit within the legislation and the restrictions in these areas, so that we can camp, for 3 or 4 days if we want to. I'm aware that we have the other land that's been purchased across the other road there. So there is a lot more land over the other side. So I guess to reassure us and users, is there something we should be concerned about? Was that being thoroughly invested before that relocation was suggested?
Sure. Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Councillor Willis, excellent question. And Randall really spoke about this in his presentation. And I guess it's fundamental to what you guys want to try and work out. So in the planning scheme, there's a hierarchy of of plans. There's state plans and there's local plans. So Forbes' local environmental plan basically precludes this development from going at the Central West Industrial Park. But at a state level, so state environmental planning policy, transport and infrastructure allows outdoor recreation facilities to go on IN1 land. So we are using legislation above the local level. This development is classified as a outdoor recreation facility, and we are using a state-based policy to allow it to go there. So anything ancillary to that use, camping, those sorts of other uses, they come underneath the outdoor recreation facility.
This is outdoor camping. Yeah, we're not building a house there for someone to live in. Yeah, we're not doing long-term rental and things like that.
So the legislation at a state level allows you to do it. Locally, the LEP, which the state stuff overrides it, but the decision from the council previously was that wasn't probably a suitable use. The state level allows it.
And the other thing is we're getting very close. We think. Do you want to talk about the money that we've been negotiating for the facilities for showers and toilets and everything? Steve?
Yeah, certainly, Madam Mayor. I can't divulge at the moment, and some of the councillors in closed session have been briefed on this information, but we are very, very close to being able to secure up to another $1 million with an ongoing contingency to be able to put towards the facilities, which would be toilets, showers, of course, canteen, grandstanding areas and that sort of thing. So regardless of where it's built, that money will still be secured. But rest assured, we're working very, very hard to make sure that this is a complete facility, not just a shed.
And room for extension is the big thing, is to expand it and have a real...
Room for expansion. The site of the Central West Industrial Park is in fact 30 acres.
Yes.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Director of Planning. Just with regards to the safety of obviously the users and the animals, have we had a safety audit or anything like that just to have some plans in place with biosecurity, traffic, a lot more people out there, just if we have any issues regarding that out the road?
Through you, Madam Mayor, no, Councillor Clark, not to my knowledge has they been raised as an issue potentially internally, so we haven't had to address those. I guess part of our planning is to look at those things, but not specifically.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just a couple of things. Certainly appreciate people's concerns, the users group concerns. Also, communication has obviously has been fallen down there a bit. And I certainly appreciate emotions. Can I just ask, with a show of hands, if out of any of these people...
We can't do that, Mark. I'm sorry.
Who is in favour of being relocated?
I'm sorry, Mark. That is not our... We do not do that.
Oh, well, I have heard differently, with due respect, but fine.
No,
yes.
no. We have to debate this and stand up tall and strong and make a decision that's going to keep our community happy.
Yes.
That's all you've got to do. You know, we've heard from everybody and we know their concerns. So...
I think due respect, okay, right?
Yes,
So,
that's what happens.
yeah.
Could I just...
Yeah, I think we've been around everybody.
Just one little bring up a very important point.
You want us to go back into your motion?
Well, I want to be able to raise some issues, not some issues. I want to be able to raise a very important point. I feel Councillor Webb actually spent quite a lot of time in a place called Mount Isa. And in Mount Isa, there was a great radio facilities, showgrounds, and that. Similar to what you're proposing.
I'm not proposing anything.
Well, similar to whoever proposed it out of the Sayards. It wasn't working. It wasn't an economic benefit to the town at Mount Isa, Calcadoon Park. So what Mount Isa done is they brought all those facilities back into the town. And now it's in conjunction with the racecourse, the showgrounds, and probably some of these guys that have been there, probably the best equestrian centre in this country. That's very important that we understand the economic benefit to Forbes as opposed to Algorsaya.
Okay. Does someone want to move that we go back into council? It's been moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Against, I declare it carried. Councillor Matisky has spoken to the motion. Is there anyone against the motion? Can you just let me know what the motion is?
By the way.
Council reassess the Forbes Showground as a site for the multi-purpose equestrian centre.
Can I put a shadow motion under that, please?
No, you can put an amendment.
Amendment to that motion, please.
So long as it favours the
timeline.
Yeah, that council reassess the showgrounds or not just the showgrounds but the actual site that it was intended for.
Okay, so are you happy
You happy with that, Brian?
You happy to have that in, Brian?
Yeah. The showgrounds or the site that it was intended for, which is the crown land between the showgrounds and the racecourse.
What? Well, can I just ask a question on that? We've got this one here.
Hang on. Are you going to accept that into the motion? If not, I'm going to have it as an amendment and I'm going to deal with the amendment. Your motion can sit in the background.
Yeah, okay. No, I'll accept that.
Okay, so the motion now reads, we're going to make it a full motion, Kylie, if you don't mind. The council reassess the Forbes Showground as a site for the multi-purpose equestrian centre, and the council reassesses the former site. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right.
Former site that was proposed. Is that it? Former site that was proposed showground. So that's your full motion.
So the amendment becomes a motion?
No, it's coming into it because Brian's agreed to it.
Okay.
So it's been moved by Brian, seconded by...
Sorry, is that what you heard?
So you're saying either or? Sorry, I don't understand it.
Well, either
A new site or the old site?
or the old site.
Because what has been flagged here today is there is another area.
Yeah.
So, but our biggest issue is not owning it. We have not, and I categorically tell you, we have had some terrible meetings with the PA&H, trying to get some agreement to try and do things there, and including this. There lies the problem. So we will, if we go with this, we're going to have to overcome those issues and try and get moving and start to get this built.
It doesn't read correctly, so really you need the council reassess the former site proposed and other sites at the...
No, Councillor Webb. The council reassesses the Forbes Showground as a site for the multi-person equestrian centre. End of story.
Yeah, that's fine, it doesn't...
Okay, and then what Councillor Cradiana, and he has every right to, and Councillor Matisky's agreed, that he wants us to make sure that we look at the proposed site that was there. Is that right, Councillor?
Right. Yeah, instead of moving...
So just put them together and they're right. That is one motion.
Can I add another part to that motion?
Well,
please.
You can try.
That the project manager consult our user group re-flooring.
I think that's already a given anyway.
Yeah, but at least it's there.
Yeah. Can you put a time on that too? We've only got 6 weeks. Yeah, next 2 weeks.
Tomorrow?
You've got 2 weeks. You need 2 weeks maximum.
Now, are you happy to put that in, Brian? We're really giving you a very
we've got to do it
good motion.
as quickly as possible. I don't know whether the project manager...
Well...
It's got to be the council as a whole. I think it's... The council... we need to be in the loop, and that's one of the problems that's happened here. We've only had a month since we've been told about this, and we've got to get it through quickly, and I think it's got to be the council more so than the project manager. And the project manager...
So let's just, Kylie, we'll shorten this up. Council will consult with the user groups in relation to flooring
Yes, please.
and the issues associated with the present flooring model. You happy with that, Brian?
Yep.
Give us a bit of time frame.
Okay.
Need a timeline,
Need a timeline.
in 2 weeks, I'd say.
What, a week?
In 2 weeks, of 10 days maximum. Otherwise,
Needs to
we're
be
not,
like-
our time is.
Now
Next.
we have to try and stitch this up, and if we can't stitch it up, we're back to square one. So just, everyone needs to know that. This has been a very, very difficult, I had no idea about all of these monthly meetings or anything. I had the staff come to me and say, listen, we're on a time frame here, we need to do this, we need to get this, and that's when I got briefed by all of our professional staff and our general manager, and we made the decision that we would go to the sale-outs because we own it and we would operate it. So there lies another problem. Okay, so
Can we put the motion?
that's been moved and seconded. Is there any speakers
It's not a time.
for or against? Do you want to close debate, councillor Matisky?
Yeah, I think we've got to. The council's bigger than the showground, and we've got to work in together. It's a big complex that we can't let go. As the general manager has said, that could be $1 million coming in for the amenities, whether that's out at the sale yards or it's going to be at the showground itself. So that's going to be an advantage whichever way it goes. But we need to really think about this. We don't want to have a complex out at the sale yards that's not going to be used, as the users are suggesting. We need to really think about this, and it's not, shouldn't be a snap decision. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? I declare it carried. Okay, there being no further business, I declare the meeting closed, and thank you for your attendance. Thank you.